Hello and welcome back to the Rabblecast. My name is Eric Hernandez, and you are listening to episode number 592. 592 for those keeping score at home. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've sat down and done this. Just did an episode all by myself. That's right. I'll get into it. I explain a lot of what's happened, a lot of the different changes that have been going on for the show in the four and a half months since we last put up a show. It's been crazy, and I cover some stuff here and there. I didn't get into the full details of everything else as far as like different stories or news pieces. I just wanted to be able to pretty much catch up with you guys, let you know what's going on here, give you an update to the show, what's going on, and hopefully what you can expect going forward. Still trying to figure out scheduling what I'm going to be doing. It took me a while to be able to figure out this night, just to be able to sit down and talk on a microphone, on a recording device, but I'm happy to finally be able to do that. So listen to the episode if you are so inclined to. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully my voice does not put you off. Realize it's going to be just me for quite some time until I figure out what's going on. Since the departure of Doug, he had to leave the state to take care of some family. Completely understandable. I know we talked about it in past shows. I cover it a little bit on this show. Love Doug. I hope everything's going well with him. I know I've texted him a few times, and the last time I checked on him, he's doing well so far. So thankfully, family and friends so far hanging in there. Hopefully you are as well. I feel so weird doing this now in the moment. I'm sitting here recording this during a pandemic, and I'm thinking to myself, do I really have to plug the show? Well, yeah, I have to plug the show for anybody who might be new and doesn't know where to go to get the different things. So if this is your first time listening, bear with me. I'm going to do it during the intros most of the time. We are brought to you by InsidePulse.com. You can find the show over at Rabblecast.libsyn.com. You can also find the show over on our YouTube channel. I just upload the audio essentially. There's no video. Again, I address some of that as well. Just audio, put it up there. So anybody who doesn't have the time to go up to Libsyn, you can just go to YouTube. And we're also on iTunes. So if you want to just download us and take us on the go, when I say us, I just mean the show. That's also an option. We have the Rabblecast Facebook fan page. Tweet us at Rabblecast and email us if you have any stories or if you have any different things that are going on. Send us an email. Rabblecast@gmail.com is the address. I'd love to hear from a bunch of different people. I know I've gotten a bunch of different emails and messages saying, hey, what happened to the show? What's going on? I loved what you guys were doing. Bear with me. Things have changed slightly again, and I hope that I can continue doing this and continue giving you some content that you can enjoy. So we'll see what happens. I just wrapped up an episode by myself. It felt kind of weird, but it felt kind of nice because I feel like I've slipped on a comfortable pair of shoes again. Does that make sense? I don't know. Whatever the case may be. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Get down to business. It's been a while, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologize. I apologize because it's taken a lot longer than I anticipated to sit down and get in front of the microphone again and just have some free time to do this. I've missed doing this. I love doing this, and it's been a few months at this point. It's the longest stretch I've gone without doing this show for quite some time now. It's been 13 years we've been doing the show, and it's long been said, labor of love. I like sitting down. This is what Doug and I would refer to as our therapy sessions. But unfortunately, as you're listening to this, Doug is not here. Now, for those who haven't listened to this in a while, or those who are brand new to the show, back in October, November of 2019, Doug had mentioned that due to some unforeseen circumstances, his timetable of possibly moving out of the state had accelerated. He had to take care of some family stuff, and it just made sense for him at the time for him to, pretty much pack up and head out. And unfortunately, that meant he felt bad in telling me this, and I know we covered this beforehand, that he said he was going to have to leave the show. And I completely understood. I told him, look, your family comes first, your life comes first. This show does not take precedence over anything in your real life, day-to-day life. So with that, I guess he felt a sense of relief, and he did what he had to do. And then from November, our last show that we recorded together in November, we posted up, and then we did a string of shows that unfortunately had to get shelved for some time, just due to the fact that I was running out of time to edit, do playbacks and everything else, and post them up. So the last few string of shows that you got, I think it were like the last 5 around the holidays, those were all shows that were recorded back in the summertime. So I think 591 was the last one for those keeping track. This is episode number 592, as I will say in the intro probably. If not, here we go. Since Doug headed out, I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with the show, and I was mulling it over for a while, and I figured since I was putting up the shows from the summer, I had time to figure things out and see what I wanted to do. I had started a new job and settling in, and the holidays came around, and unfortunately things just got out of my control as far as time, as far as being able to sit down and just do this for any stretch or period of time. So I was trying to figure out, do I want to keep doing it just the audio? Do I want to just switch over to video? Do I want to bring in more people and friends and family kind of thing? I was reaching out to other friends that could possibly sit in or call in and do interviews. I know quite a few people in different fields of work that I thought would be kind of interesting, just to start exploring the people that I know and seeing if they wouldn't mind sharing their lives, what they do. And the beginning of 2020, it looked kind of promising. I had a few people on board. I had a few friends that were like, yeah, sure, I'd love to sit, and I'd love, if I've listened to the show for a while, I would love to be a part of it. And it was always great. If you've listened to this, it's gone through different changes as friends have come and gone, and faces have changed here and there. Back when it was started out, it was just a 2-man show, Jamie and myself, that had morphed into Jamie, myself, and Mike, and then a few different people would come in and out, and we had different guests. Then Doug and Jimmy sat in and helped out here and there. Then Doug became pretty much a fixture of the show for quite some time, and now here I am, sitting by myself in a room. It's late. My family's asleep right now while I'm doing this. I'm playing Iron Man in the background on mute, just to have something visually, I guess, distracting, so I don't keep going back and forth. It's just weird. It's something I do. But I wanted to figure out what's going on. And then, I mentioned the new job. We're expecting a second child on the way in a few months, so that's been something we've been dealing with, settling into different routines. My son is much older at this point. He's 4 now, and it's becoming more time consuming to make sure he stays out of trouble when he and I are home alone, or just in general. He's very curious and very rambunctious, so I wanted to make sure I spent time with him and made sure that he's okay. And then the world got flipped upside down with everything going on out as far as the pandemic is concerned. People are being let go from work, furloughed, or laid off, however you want to refer to it as. People are trying to figure out what's going on. Toilet paper became very scarce. I mean, I'm saying things that millions of other people have talked about on the news, on entertainment shows, on podcasts, whatever you want to talk about. The long lines at grocery stores, the people being worried about wearing masks and gloves and everything else. I don't want to retread old material, or old, I should say, not material, news that's been talked about by many countless people at this point. We are living in a very, very strange time. I would say it's unprecedented. It's scary what we're living through right now. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. I'm not going to sit here and argue a for or against. The only thing I can say is if you're going through a tough time right now, reach out to people, reach out to family, reach out to friends, see what can be done to help you hopefully get to a certain comfort level. I know we've offered many different friends, do you need anything? Do you need us to pick up something? Do you need us to stop by, drop off anything? Different things. We're all, everybody's trying to come together in this very weird, scary time to make sure that we stay safe, we stay healthy, and that we can continue to try to live our normal lives until this all goes away. Because I never thought I would live through this kind of scenario in life, and if it was just me by myself, I wouldn't really be worried about it too much, to be honest. But to have a family, have a child, and have another on the way, it's very scary. On top of that, my wife, Jen, she works in a pharmacy right now, and that's very scary because she has to deal with patients who could potentially be positive with the virus, and people are saying, I don't know what's going on. They're trying to mitigate it where she's at. I don't want to say specifically, but they're trying to go through and do curbside pickups, that kind of thing, to hopefully lessen the potential exposure. But let's face it, people are dumb, and I don't mean that to insult anyone in particular. It's just in general, sometimes common sense goes out the window. People just don't know how to take care of themselves, especially if you are potentially sick. You'll touch your face, you touch your nose, your eyes, your mouth, whatever the case is, and you won't realize it. You just go to scratch something or rub something, and all of a sudden you touch a counter space or touch a product and put it back on the shelf, and you're spreading germs, you're spreading whatever this virus is. And Jen currently is being put at very high risk just due to the line of work. I myself, our place, I work in electronics, for anybody who's wondering. The new job is going great so far. I love it. It's been quite a few months now. They've been treating us very well. They've given us some time off to relax from work, just to make sure that there's no potential exposure or, people getting sick, because the lab can be kind of cramped sometimes. But with that said, they want to make sure they get stuff done. So contracts are contracts, due dates are due dates, deadlines are deadlines. You need to have things out the door by a certain time. So they started calling people back in, and most recently, I was called back in just to make sure that things hopefully return to a smoother rate of output. So I'm trying to do my best to help out, and at the same time take care of my family. So with all that, it's gotten very, very weird. Things have changed. The level of normal, what people refer to as, has definitely changed, and people are just trying to figure out what's going to happen. What's next? What's new? What's changing? Because from day to day, if you look at the news cycle, it gets really confusing and frustrating when you see some of the headlines. You want this to go away, and there's plans hopefully put in place that will get us to that point. But people sometimes just get really, when you get scared and frustrated, and sometimes you tend to be selfish. And I've seen a number of people on different comment threads on social media say, no, I don't care if the state or the country is not open by a certain time, I'm going out anyway. And that's your prerogative. Look, hey, if you are somebody who knows how to take care of yourself, wash your hands, don't touch your face, wearing a mask, put gloves on, whatever the case is, if you can take care of yourself responsibly and you're not at risk, hey, so long as you're not getting in trouble or causing trouble to other people, okay. But be smart. Be smart, because there's a lot of people out there that are taking their entire family to go shopping. They're going out to visit friends, or family who might be older and could be put at risk. I mean, again, this is nothing new. If you've been listening to the news or social media, be smart. That's all I can say. I just want my family to be safe. My family and friends, they all so far have been doing well. Well, that's not true. I just found out last night that my uncle, who's a pastor, he apparently over the weekend was admitted to a hospital and he was tested positive. And thankfully, he's recovering. We don't know exactly what happened. We don't know how he came into contact with it. I don't know if his congregation was still getting together. I doubt it. He's pretty responsible himself. So I like to think that, maybe he went out to the store or something happened and he just came into contact with somebody out in public as he was trying to get some, basic needs for his family. If that's the case, then okay, again, be smart. Everybody else that I know, thankfully, we've been okay. There's been stories. I mean, you just look at the numbers of cases, positive cases, and the amount of deaths. And yes, I know that's another thing that people harp on quite a bit. And again, I'm just going to say this very quickly because I'm not trying to get into debates or politics of this whole thing. People are saying, oh, they keep reporting the number of deaths and they don't report the number of people who've recovered. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Because this is a deadly virus. Depending on your case, on your health, if you have an underlying condition, this is very deadly, and you might succumb to it. You might suffer complications that stem from it. So if you have asthma, or if you have a heart condition, if whatever the case is, you could very well be affected by this in a very deadly way. But the fact that they don't really cover the recovery, I mean, granted, if people recover from, yes, it's great, fantastic, hooray, let's put our hands up in the air, let's clap, let's be happy for the families that had people returning home. But it's very important to understand that this is a very deadly situation that we're dealing with. And it can be very simple. You go out to get some food, or you go out to pick up some cereal, milk and eggs, whatever the case is, and you just come into contact with the virus somewhere out there on a shelf or a surface or a door handle, whatever the case is, or maybe the person you're standing next to in line, hopefully not 6 feet apart, obviously. Somebody coughs or sneezes as you walk by, stuff like that. You don't know who can have it in public right now, especially with the whole idea of somebody being asymptomatic, not showing any signs of being sick. So the fact that people are saying that, oh, we're not talking about the people who recover. No, we will talk about the people that recover, I'm sure, once this is all past. It's very important to understand that this is still a very deadly situation. And for people who want to get out there and still get together and still, have gatherings or celebrations at this moment, it's not smart. It really is not. And people should really just try to figure things out, what your necessities are, and just be safe. Take care of one another. Again, if you have friends who suffer from depression, or if who are introverted, reach out to them. It's not easy all the time to go through stuff like this. I know while I was home for a little bit, I was having a tough time because you're trying to adjust to a different routine for a little bit. You're not sure what happened. I'm actually kind of happy that I got called back into work, because that means I could actually get back to a semi-normal routine. I mean, it's few changes here and there to be safe and things of just to make sure that we're okay, but we have that ability to go out there and do what we have to do. So, but yeah, with everything going on right now, it's changed lives, day-to-day lives for a lot of people. Industries have suffered. The market, the economy, I should say, has definitely suffered quite a bit. People are wondering what's going to happen. So there's no sporting events, there's no large gatherings, so conventions, concerts, all these things have either been canceled or delayed, and people are wondering, when's the next time I'm going to go, watch a movie or go to see a concert. These are questions that won't be answered for quite some time. And in fact, I was just sitting down seeing some reports before going on the mic that they're thinking that for the rest of this year, a lot of different events are going to be canceled outright. And I mean, just look at whatever you're into. I know Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con was having issues. New York Comic-Con is on the chopping block only because they were using the Javits Center to house a bunch of different people who were testing positive. They were making a makeshift hospital, essentially. I don't know what the case with that is currently, whether they were able to finally clear that out or not. but they're saying that a lot of these different things are being delayed or if not canceled. Movies. I love going to the movies. Whenever I get a chance to go to a theater, get some candy and a cherry Coke, I like to sit down, relax, especially nowadays with the local theater having the lounge seating, so you're more spaced out. You can hit that little button and recline and enjoy yourself, no problem. It's always great, but a lot of the different movies that we enjoy and want to see have been delayed, if not for 6 months, probably up to a year. I think, let's see, Black Widow from Marvel has been delayed from May 1st now out to November, and they're hoping that stays for the time being. With that said, that delays just about every other Marvel cinematic movie that was coming out by one notch. So if you look at the different release dates that was set previously, previous to this whole pandemic, everything's been bumped down one notch or one tier on the ladder, I guess you can say. And they want to make sure that that's safe for people. And on the other hand, they have the movie Onward from Pixar. I only know this one because we sat down and watched it with my son recently. It was released in theaters, I think, in February. And then as everything was going crazy, Disney decided, hey, look, we're going to put this out transactional first. You know, you could buy it or rent it, whatever the case was. And then 2-3 weeks later, they put it on Disney Plus to stream. So if you have the Disney Plus service, you have a movie that just hit the theaters. And about a month and a half after its release, it's now on a streaming service, which is crazy when you look at the fact that it's a Disney movie. It's a Pixar movie. That's never really happened before. But they just want to try to give people something to keep them entertained if they're self-isolating, quarantining, whatever the case, however you want to refer to it as, just staying at home and being safe. So that was one of the things that they were talking about. I don't think that's going to happen with any of the Marvel. I don't think that's going to happen with any of the Marvel movies, because those are big budget movies that they need to make money on. They spend a lot of money to make those films, and they're not about to just give everything for free on streaming or video on demand. So those Marvel movies are definitely going to be pushed so that hopefully they can recoup their production costs or advertising costs. So those we'll have to wait and see what happens. But there was another movie, Artemis Fowl, which is an IP. I'm not too familiar with it, but I believe Kenneth Branagh was going to be doing the directing duties for this one for Disney. And supposedly, I guess they flipped the coin, or they decided something. They decided they're going to put this movie on Disney Plus as well. I don't know if it's going to be for rent or for sale first on certain platforms, and then you can stream it on Disney Plus. You have to look into that one. I didn't get a chance to, but that's another thing that's going to be given out to people, just so they can say, hey, look, we'll take a loss on this one just so we can entertain our customers and our fans at home. There's hell, even Disneyland and Disney World, all over the globe, all those parks are closed. All those amusement rides, those the bars, that whatever you go out to and tickles your fancy at Disney, all those things, all those locations are closed. So they are suffering badly. I mean, granted, we're talking about companies that are worth millions of dollars, if not billions, but this whole thing is just, it's hitting everybody in a different way, and people are just trying to figure out what's going on. I wasn't sure if I was going to get into it, but I might as well, if we're talking about things that have been suffering quite a bit. And it's one of the topics we talk about on this show quite a bit, if you've been a listener for a while, the world of professional wrestling. Now, I have not been keeping up with the day-to-day stories or the different things that have been going on, but I have been recently keeping track of certain parts. Like, I sat down and watched WrestleMania. If you didn't watch WrestleMania 36 this year, it was originally going to be out of Tampa Bay, Florida. And they had the whole idea with using the pirate ship and including it in their production, and Kari Sane was going to have this whole thing with an entrance and everything else. But once they said pandemic, once they said lockdown, once they said cancel this, delay that, the WWE had to make a call. And that is, how do you put on WrestleMania without an audience, without a venue? And they did. Thankfully, the Performance Center down in Orlando, Florida, was a perfect place for them to hold their show, only in location. But when it came to not having a crowd, it's like, what do we do? How do you throw the biggest show of the year, but you don't have an audience? Now, they were talking about, they were at one point, they were going to possibly invite certain audience members in. I don't know, preferential treatment, or like diehard fans, whatever the case was. Maybe they had like a VIP club that they can bring in. But as they got closer and closer, and they went through the logistics, like, this is getting kind of crazy. And the one story that I heard was that Triple H was trying to get a good idea of what they could potentially do, because as things went, and again, changed hour by hour, day by day, he's like, we should probably get ahead of this, because if they start doing lockdowns, we're going to be in trouble, and we're not going to have any content to show our fans. So with that, they not only taped certain shows leading up to WrestleMania at the Performance Center, Raw and SmackDown, with no audience. They adapted the way they were shooting it so that they were using, different camera angles and different styles, just to make things a little bit more adaptable. And then they decided, hey, we're going to make WrestleMania a 2-night event. First time ever. WrestleMania 36, Saturday and Sunday night. Tune in for all these different matches. And I believe there was over 8 hours of content almost between the 2 nights. I mean, if you include the pre-shows and everything else. And then you have the different matches. I'm not going to get into the whole lineup of the show, but I will say that the standouts of the Boneyard match was essentially a Buried Alive match, just done in a very cinematic way, with the way they shot it and the different edits between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. That was something to behold. That was something really, really interesting, and that capped off the first night. And then you go into the second night, which it didn't end the show, but it was right before the main event, the Firefly Funhouse match between Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend, versus John Cena. That took it to a different place with the different edits and the way they set up the match itself psychologically. They told a story, and it was very, very interesting. And I saw a lot of people online who were diehard wrestling fans go, no, what the hell did I just watch? That's not wrestling. But if you understand the character of The Fiend and Bray Wyatt, then you would understand that they took a shot on something, and I loved it. I thought it was a great idea. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't like John Cena, that I was like, okay, this is really, really interesting. I like where they're going with this. I like the fact that John Cena was willing to portray himself through the years, essentially, and showing his faults and showing how his career unfolded. That was a very, very interesting way to go about it. So it all lended itself to make WrestleMania 36 a very memorable WrestleMania, but not for the typical reasons. It's not for the standout matches or the standout feud or guest appearances. You didn't have the big celebrities that you had in the past. Well, Rob Gronkowski from the Patriots, but that's a different situation. That was very, very interesting what they did, and I give them a lot of credit. Now, after WrestleMania 36 was over, I didn't continue watching Raw and SmackDown. I haven't had the time that I would normally have in the past. So, but I know that we're still taping a handful of shows. Again, leading up to WrestleMania, they taped a bunch of different things. They banked a bunch of different shows to be prepared. What their plan is going forward, it's anybody's guess right now. Because I know for a while they had canceled all their house shows for the month of April. But the recent news, and trust me, this is a whole train of thought that I have here. In recent news, I don't know which political official, the mayor, the governor, it's late, forgive me, but essentially what happened is somebody in power in Florida deemed the WWE essential, allowing them to go back to the Performance Center to continue taping shows so they can continue providing content. Now, this is very important right now because WWE is trying to stave off the different losses. It's estimated that they lost $20 million because of the way that they ran WrestleMania this year. That's due to the fact that you didn't have your fan access, you didn't have the ticket sales, you didn't have all these other things, and the pay-per-view buy rights that are still out there somehow. I don't know. Listen, if you're not getting the WWE through the streaming service, through the WWE app or whatever it's called at this point, you're doing yourself a disservice. For $10, you could have gotten the WWE app and you would have been fine. Or otherwise, I think they were even offering it for free for first-time subscribers. So just do yourself a favor. But when they were trying to figure out what was going on, they're like, look, we're losing this much money. We need to be able to provide content. Otherwise, we're going to shut down for a while. And that led to a whole bunch of different things right now. And in fact, I could even talk about this right here. Earlier this week, WWE decided, hey, we got to let some people go. And this is typical WWE. I mean, they do their spring cleaning, essentially. They do all their future endeavors shortly after WrestleMania, just so they can make sure that they clear up some room on the roster, clear up some room on the bottom line as far as the company's concerned. But this was a huge list of people let go. So let's see here. We have, and I'm just going to go by their wrestling names. I'm not going to go worry about their actual names. If you watch wrestling, I'm sure you're familiar with all these people. I'm actually not. It's been a while since I've watched the show, so some of these are like, who's that? But I have seen mention of them here and there. Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows. Why are you letting the club go? I don't understand that one, but okay. Let's keep going. Heath Slater, Aiden English, Eric Young, EC3. Those last two are former TNA stars, so I'm sure they'll be able to find work elsewhere. If not, they'll probably come back to the WWE once things get back to hopefully normal. Leo Rush, Kurt Angle, Sarah Logan, Mike Chioda, once one of the referees. Primo, Epico, Rowan, Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis, Zack Ryder, No Way Jose, Rusev, who has become a fan favorite since I last was watching. So I'm not sure about that one, but a lot of people apparently are heartbroken over his release. Diana Perazzo, I'm probably murdering that name, and Alexander Jaksic. 18 people that were just, hey, here you go. You're being given your pink slip. Oh, but don't forget, you've got your 90-day no-compete clause. So not only are you not earning anymore, but for 3 months, you got to sit in the sidelines and you can't take work with anybody else. During a pandemic. That's very shitty of the WWE. But they're not the only ones that are suffering through this. A lot of employees in the front office, so to speak, in the executive building, have also been furloughed or laid off. And again, it's follows suit with a bunch of other different companies that are doing the same thing right now. They're just trying to figure out how to shore up the bottom line, continue paying the employees that you do have that are sticking around because they are deemed essential, and how to keep things hopefully chugging along for the time being. A number of other different companies are doing the same thing, and one of the big debates right now is how are we going to reopen the economy? How are we going to restart everything to hopefully go back to a normal status quo? And I have to mention this because a few people sent me this link as well. I didn't read the article. I only saw it, and I laughed when I saw it, that apparently Donald Trump is asking Vince McMahon to be part of his team on how to lay out a plan on restarting or reopening the economy. And look, if you didn't catch on early on that the fact that Donald Trump, who is a WWE Hall of Famer, did have a WrestleMania appearance where he shaved Vince McMahon's head, if you didn't realize that something was going to happen politically, you were just lying to yourself. I had to remind some friends that now that President Trump is in office, he has a small business administration that's headed up by Linda McMahon, and the idea for that is that, she tried running for Senate a couple times, but due to her ties to the company and the history of the company and what it's been through, not many people were really eager to vote her into Senate. So by being friends and buddy with somebody like Trump, they were able to get her a job in the government one way or the other. Now it looks like those favors and those handshakes might be extending a little bit further as Vince and Donald Trump and others team up to hopefully reopen the economy. Hey, look, I don't care how you feel about, again, politics. I just hope they're smart. I hope they go about it the right way. I hope that they take the right ideas to heart and realize that this is about the people, not about the money and the greed and the big businesses, I hope that they can figure something out so that it helps everybody. Because if they succeed in doing what they want to do, then we'll all succeed in hopefully getting back to what we consider our everyday lives. There's a lot of hate out there. There's a lot of like different things that people just get pissed off about, and I understand things are not what everybody wants them to be. You're either on one team or the other, and it gets tough sometimes to just cut through all the BS and realize, hey, look, life is difficult already at times, especially right now. Let's not try to make it harder by arguing with one another. Let's try to figure something out. And somehow Vince McMahon is now helping the United States government and figuring out how to get things back to normal. So we'll see what happens. That was the other thing, that WWE, before being deemed essential by the state of Florida, also had pledged some a number of millions of dollars to the state of Florida itself. So they're pretty much saying, hey, look, we'll pay you, you make us essential, we can keep working and we'll be happy. So whatever the case is. But that's just another example of things being turned upside down through this lens of the pandemic that we are currently living. Things have gotten crazy. Another one had happened. If you're a comic book fan, if you read Marvel or DC, whatever the case is, Diamond Distributors, which is the company that ships out all the different comics to all the different retailers, they announced that they were going to suspend delivery of comics. They were going to not deliver comics, essentially. And already a lot of comic book stores had to close down again because of what's going on there. A comic book store is not necessarily deemed essential depending on where you are. Everything's different from state to state, and a lot of these businesses are suffering because they have to send people home, or you have to be careful because, again, spread of the virus. And already through suffering through that, then only to find out that, hey, look, we may not have new product to sell you even if we are open. So we got to figure out what's going on. And thankfully, I know Jim Lee, Greg Capullo, a number of different artists are out there, and they're starting to do charity auctions. So they'll sit down, they'll do a nice piece of artwork, and they'll put it up on, I don't know, eBay or other different auction sites. On Twitch, I know Jim Lee has like a streaming Twitch channel, which you could watch him draw or pen and ink something, and after that it goes up onto an auction site, and people can go out there and hopefully bid for a nice piece of art. So if you like a black and white Superman, or a Black Canary, or Wonder Woman, or Superman, or Batman, whatever the case is, you can get a nice piece of art just by bidding on it. But right now they've pledged that they'll do some pieces of artwork and they'll put them up, and the money from that will go to helping these comic book stores stay afloat, stay open, for the duration of this pandemic, hopefully, and hopefully these businesses survive. That became a big debate whether this was the time to switch over to purely digital comics. But it looked like Marvel and DC for a bit were saying that, oh, no, we're not going to switch over completely. We still are committed to doing the printed copies, the hard copies, and get those into people's hands. And a number of collectors are the same way. They're like, look, I like digital. It's a nice way to have the book, but there's nothing like having the physical issue in your hand. There's just, and I get it. It's an old-fashioned style of reading. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Digital is nice too because of the way that it reads through the app. If you have on your tablet, I don't know if it's on the phone anymore, but I know on your iPad, if you have it, you can go through, and it actually helps you flow through the storyline. So you go panel to panel in the correct order. Sometimes the way the page is set up, if it's got like a splash page, or the page is turned vertically instead of horizontally, sometimes you can get lost in the story, and you might spoil a story point for yourself before you turn the page, that kind of thing. It's a great way to read it through digital, but I understand the traditional way of reading a hard copy. So people are like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. I just want to pick up my books and bag and board them and put them in my long box after I'm done, and then store them away and have like a little keepsake. Trust me, I did the same thing. Before my son was born, I had amassed a pretty large collection, nothing of note, but a lot of long boxes that had to get moved to storage when our bouncing baby boy came home, and we had to make sure that we had room and what used to be my comic book storage room ended up becoming his room. So that's a little personal information right there. But it's crazy. It's nuts what's going on right now. If we bring it back a second to this show, I like doing this. I really do. I like sitting down. I know right now I'm talking into an empty room essentially, but I'm hoping that this can reach somebody. I'm hoping that this might be able to fill some time for you, and I'm hoping that I haven't lost the people that enjoyed the show previously. I don't know if you can stand listening to me for any length of time. We'll see what happens. I'm not really up for doing the video portion of it. Hey, look, I have to get up and dressed for work as it is. I really don't feel like I have to get up and get dressed to make sure my hair is brushed correctly, or I shaved, whatever the case is. Or hey, look, I have a stain on my shirt. I don't want to be on camera with when I spilled some food on my shirt by accident. I like sitting down and doing the audio portion. That's the easiest way for me to do this and get this out to everybody. I will see what I can do as far as getting other people. That requires a different setup than I currently have right now. I'm sitting here right now with my microphone and my Zoom recorder, and I keep glancing over at the levels to make sure that nothing is out of the ordinary. But I'm sure, again, I'm getting back into the swing of things. I'm going to get back to doing what I have to do to hopefully get this back out. If this for me feels great, and I know it might be a little selfish for me to say this, it feels great for me to sit down and be able to talk, because it's like I have a lot of these thoughts that run through my head, and sometimes they just get jammed in there and a glut happens, and I'm just trying to figure out how to just have a release in a way. And this allows me to be able to get that out and share my thoughts on a lot of different topics. And as things are going, I hope that I can continue to do this. And hey, look, we started the show way back when because I just wanted to do something for a radio demo, and it morphed into this, and it took the many different forms and shapes over the years, but it's come to this right now. And if I don't do it, there's tons of other people out there who are currently doing it. Podcasts are everywhere nowadays. When we started this, podcasts were very scarce. And then over the years, just everybody got into it. Celebrity got into it. Sports athletes got into it. Everybody can have a podcast. Hell, even listeners of this show, I know, ended up having their own show start. And every now and then I'll get a link. Hey, check out this episode, and hey, let me know what you think of this, and I'll try to listen in and give my 2 cents if possible. Sometimes it might not be wanted. Sometimes I might be a little too honest. I don't know. But I try. Again, labor of love. It's just something for me to do to get stuff off my chest. I'm not going to even cover all the different things that I wanted to really talk about tonight, because I think it's too much to just get right back in and just go deep into the show again. It's crazy. So again, if you're at home, episode 591 was the last one where we left off. It has been 1, 2, 3, 4, almost like 4.5 months of not doing the show. And I'm kicking myself every time, because when I wanted to sit down, I'm like, I can record tonight. Once everybody goes to bed, I can bust out the equipment and I can sit down and do this. Or maybe I can go down to my car in the driveway and just, sit in the car in the dark and talk about it. But, what if the cops come by and wonder why there's a weird light in my car? Whatever the case is. I didn't have a set plan on how this was going to restart. But I wanted to definitely sit down and be able to just get back to it, because this is fun. This is fun for me, and I hope it's fun for anybody out there. So again, if you're out there and you're listening to this, first off, I'm going to apologize, because not only just for the length of time it took me to get back in front of the microphone and be able to do this, but this is all just stream of thought. I had a few ideas, a few talking points before sitting down and hitting record, but this is all just me unloading thoughts, opinions, reactions, and I hope you can follow it. I hope it's not too disjointed. I hope it's not too crazy, because I can ramble, and I probably will for quite some time, but I'm trying to keep it concise tonight. So I hope at the very least that if you're listening to this, I hope you're safe. I hope your family and friends are safe. Be smart. Don't take unnecessary risks. You know, they're saying wash your hands, stay home, restrict your traveling. If you're essential, if you're out there working in a pharmacy, or more specifically working in hospitals, thank you. All the hardworking people out there, from the grocery stores, the hospitals, everybody that's currently taking care of us, supplying us with basic necessities, and allowing some kind of normality to continue. Thank you, thank you, thank you, from the bottom of my heart, because I hear the stories, I see the news reports. It's crazy, and we don't know when it's gonna end. And because of that, it's great to hear that people are out there. And again, not to get onto the subject of people who are out there should be getting hazard pay, or they should be getting a raise, or they should all this other stuff. Hey, look, it's tough. It really, really is. And if there's one thing that I've talked about with many people concerning this, is when things go back to normal, it might not be the same normal that we expect. Because what this is showing us right now, there's a lot of things that are going on with this that just are being exposed, and showing that the system that we had in place, the many different systems that we had in place, just were not working as well as people thought they were. And now there's flaws, there's vulnerabilities, and hopefully we can address those as things get back to normal. And hopefully that new normal that people tout, and the new normal that people are afraid of, maybe it's a better normal. Maybe we can actually fix things. Maybe I'm just being Pollyanna about the whole idea of just improving things or being optimistic. I don't know. Whichever we want. Again, off the top of my head, I hope that things improve for the better. I hope that people who are out there and suffering from this recover. I hope that we can all just get back together with our friends and family, hug one another, shake hands, celebrate milestones, birthdays, promotions, whatever the case is. Just get back to being able to have a good time. I miss my friends. I miss my family members I haven't seen in quite some time. Yeah, you can FaceTime them. Yeah, everybody's using Zoom or whatever the case is. But it's nice to just be able to have that freedom to move about and get together with one another again. So be smart, stay home, take care of yourselves. If you can, help your friends and family out. Don't overextend yourself. Don't go crazy. If you're starving, don't just give away whatever morsels of food you have. Take care of yourself. If you can't take care of yourself first, how do you expect to help anyone else? Check on your friends, check on your family members, and just hang in there, man. Really, I know it sounds like a motivational poster, but seriously, just hopefully we can all get through this, and we could just come out better for it on the other end. So yeah, that's what I got for the time being. So I'll cut it short for now, just so we can ease back into this for the time being. If you guys want to send me anything, any stories, any thoughts or opinions, don't try to debate me on different things. I'm not going to sit here and start making this a show where I start having back and forth. But I would love to hear from people. Rabblecast@gmail.com is the web address if you want to share anything. The show is over at insidepulse.com. rabblecast.libsyn.com. I'm still going to post it over on the YouTube channel. We still have the Rabblecast Facebook fan page, and of course at Rabblecast on Twitter. If you want to send me mentioned or tweet or anything like that, feel free to reach out, man. I'm here. It's been crazy, but I'm glad that I'm able to actually sit down, record this, and hopefully everybody out there can have a few moments to just relax. With that being said, thank you for listening. We are the Rabblecast.